think I'm over it now. I think I'm over Sunday.
Do you reckon? I can see in your eyes. I don't think you are over it.
I don't think you're over it at all.
No, I am. I'm so over
You're
it.
not. You're not there, are you?
So what happened, Hamish? Because I heard, and by heard I mean I was there, that you went against both a random dice roll and hours of preparation to be scared by
Starvo.
Starvo.
Yeah, so I rocked up and Simon went, I said I brought 2 decks because I was being a bit of a weenie. And then Simon went, well, I'll roll the dice, put a mental image in your head. If it's evens, it's that one, and if it's odds, it's the other one. I went, okay, and he rolled a 4, and I had evens play Viscerai. So I went, all right, okay, I'll do it. And then I was a bit cheeky, maybe it was a bit cheeky, but I took one look at this sheet that Simon is marking down. I don't think you should do that, by the way, but you are marking down who's playing, not who's playing what, but how many of these type of heroes. And I saw 12 Starvo and went, oh no, I don't think that's a good idea to bring Viscerai. I'll take Starvo. That was the moment that my entire tournament was ruined. And I had a lovely time with everyone, but a miserable time for an hour playing this Kale McCreeve Starvo deck.
I don't know why you did it.
No, I don't.
What's going through your brain?
I just panicked, straight up panicked, and just went, I don't know. I felt like I would have had a better matchup, and all it did, right? And I'll wrap it up here. All it did was make the matchups that I could deal with as Viscerai more harder. And I still got high rolled by Starvo anyway and went, well, this just sucks. I'm not achieving what I wanted to achieve from this deck. So, I just had a terrible time. Thank you, Kale.
I mean, talking of dice, we unleashed the new Push the Point dice on the world this weekend.
We did.
And what we did find out is that
sick.
I'm a stingy git and Hamish is lovely.
Yeah, turns out Simon is really stingy. He would not let anyone have a dice unless...
Yes, I would.
No, unless they beat him. And it was like, oh my God, these people, the majority of the people that probably listen to our podcasts like to sort of, learn. They're probably not a lot, no offense, probably not a lot of winning loads, they're just,
wow.
We've probably got a lot of cash.
Hamish has such a bad view of our listeners.
Yeah,
there's only one winner. It's in a 54-player event. There's only 8 people who can get to the top. So when you've got more people that are not going to get to the top, you've got to have a lot of people that will go, casuals.
I know. He's
Casuals.
just digging. Give me the shovel, Hamish.
I know. I'm trying to dig upwards here. So
dig up, stupid.
Digging up. So basically, Simon is letting all these casual players go, I'd really like a dice. He's like, well, this is Elden Rings came out. You got to try and beat this boss. Oh no, I really want the dice.
I'm hardly boss level.
Well,
I'm very middle of the pack.
You might be to some.
Anyway, anyone who got a dice from me knows they earned it over the weekend. So congratulations.
Yeah. Well, I was there, just sort of went, well, you know what, party time, boys. If I just even spoke to someone and they were like, and even just a reference of, I listen to your podcast, I'm getting you a dice. If I played up against someone, I didn't even care if they won or lose. I wouldn't have a dice. I think I just gave people dice.
By the way, I don't have any dice. So if you played me at the weekend and you're like, why did you not give me a dice? I just don't have any. It's not to do with you.
Give him any dice.
That's like people coming up to me being like,
why don't you have any dice?
Great. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. But don't have any dice.
So he ain't got nothing from me.
Tripp doesn't have any dice because he woke up on Sunday morning and decided that he wanted to play 12 hours of Elden Ring instead of come to a Flesh and Blood event.
Wait, you guys know I wasn't going to.
No, I know.
Right? I still wouldn't have any dice. I wouldn't have any dice anyway, but that is what I did. I did skip a proquest to play Elden Ring.
I don't approve.
To be honest with you, I'm glad I did.
It's a fantastic game, but still, come on, Tripp, come on.
So I've only done 3 out of 4 proquests.
You've still done more than me, and you're having a break.
So, yeah,
I was going to say this is the difference. So Tripp's done 3 already. I've just about managed 3. Tripp's still got 4 to go. I've got 1 to go. Hamish has got none to go, and Hamish done 2.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're all
That's
over
why I
the
was
shop.
chucking my dice out everywhere. Like, oh, fuck
I
it.
know.
It's the last one anyway. Whee!
Well, I'll be at Newcastle and Living Realms, so hopefully I'll be able to get some dice at one of those two, and then I can start giving them out to people.
Well, it's Living Realms that
I will.
Simon will
try.
pass it
Yeah.
I
over
will
to you.
endeavour
Then.
to pass you the dice.
And then I
Well-
can start giving dice to people down south of the country.
Yeah, he'd be like, "Here you go, London. I've got dice."
Londoners are like, where are my dice? Well, up north, they're drowning in dice.
Drowning.
So much dice. So yeah, no,
Right.
it was amazing. As per usual, Balls and Saucers a fantastic host, and Simon, you did all right, didn't you?
I got top 8, 4 and 2, top 8, knocked out in the first round, top 8 against Starvo. So
Well, who was
sounds familiar.
Oh yeah, it was against the Matt Light, the guy
It
that
was.
when I was playing Kingdom Gaming, I had a rules error that cropped up with Mr. Light, and and ever since then, I just blocked with my Spellblade Creepers, so I can't get a rules infraction. I go, I can't go wrong if you block with them turn 1.
Yeah, but you get a caution, don't you, or something? If you
Yeah, I got a naughty
it's
boy.
a
stuck on
casual
the
level
list.
event, isn't it? So it's
Yeah.
a warning.
it's hard
but
to
no-
remember those spellbound creepers. You know.
No, it wasn't. It was just the arcane. If they blocked up all the
yeah.
arcane, he's kind of like, oh yeah, they break. You know.
But then the next turn it checks again. If they haven't broken,
Yeah, that's the
then
thing. You have to keep
you
checking.
have to keep a check on it.
Yeah.
Matt's a nice guy, and he plays
Yeah.
locally here. And it was an incredibly high roll Starvo game versus a low roll chain game, and it was still fun.
Oh, I remember Chain. Remember when we used to call Chain the high roller, and now it's like, oh, Chain's not that high roll. And it's like, well, it probably still is a bit.
It probably still is a bit, and I
Yeah.
did manage to get my own back on one Starvo this weekend. I did very much high roll a Starvo with chain, but yeah, it goes both ways. It was a good weekend. I went 8-4, 8-5 over the weekend.
Yeah, pretty good, man.
One
pretty good.
top 8. Yeah, happy days.
Right, shall we? I've got a question to ask, but before we do,
Right, Hamish, what are you drinking?
yeah, thank you. Well, I've brought. I actually had the same beer as last week, but I've also brought something to say something a bit different. I have a small bottle of. Is it Lith?
Left, yeah.
Left.
Left.
I've got this left.
Oh.
Very funny.
What was that, Tripp?
Yeah.
You like- well, I've got a bottle of left. What have you got, Simon?
Well, do you want my real drink or my for show?
I know
drink?
what your real drink is.
Okay, your real drink is another strong
Another
glass of water.
H2O.
My real drink
it's squash.
is Aldi orange and pineapple squash.
What a
Right.
great shout.
Okay, please don't tell us the contents of those ingredients. At least tell us the ingredients of the drink that you would have
So
had.
if I would have been drinking, if I wasn't on call tonight, it would be a Derby Brewing Company Quintessential, which is a golden ale, 5%. They describe it as Moorish and crisp golden ale with citrus fruit
Did you
flavours and a complex hoppy finish.
Did you run to a shop after the ProQuest event and went, I must get something that's relevant to this town?
No. Well, Derby's obviously local to Nottingham. I live in
Yeah.
Nottingham. And the Derby Brewing Company are a fairly traditional brewing company. They do some good ales, and they've been on my radar for a little bit. They've got a couple of pubs locally to Derby, and they do some good stuff.
Cool. Trip, Live Card, Orlando Bloom,
yeah, mine's
the
pretty-
Elden Ring. What are you?
The Elden Ring, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have any good quotes yet from Elden Ring that I could throw in, but there's some good stuff.
Yeah.
I have a very basic beer. I have a Punk IPA because
Hey, good old
just
punk.
bought
Playing
myself
too much high.
Brewdog Punk IPA. Just bought a few to drink while I was playing Elden Ring, and this
Yeah.
is the last one left. So
Oh, what?
it's thirsty work, guys. You know,
It is thirsty work.
Video
Yeah.
gaming is thirsty work.
It's
Yeah.
I've not done video anyway. Cheers.
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 So my question I want to ask people before Simon jumps into the... Oh, no, Simon, do you want to just jump into the order of business?
What
Okay.
we doing?
So we are I
Making
think
it
we're
up
gonna
as we
have
go along?
Yeah, of course, always. It's halfway through ProQuest season, so I thought we were going to do a bit of a halfway check on how things have gone and the current meta. We've
We're
got
doing a what's hot, what's not.
wait for it.
Oh,
We've got an interview with another ProQuest winner. You may have seen our recent live stream. Thank you, Hamish, with Rob Catton.
mm.
But we have an interview with a ProQuest winner this week, Jonny Chapman, who won in York at EHG Gaming. And he's local to me, and he's got a bit of a good history that we talk about. So we'll go through that. And then to finish off, Hamish has jumped the gun. We're going to be doing a bit of... Just because I want to hear the jingle again, really.
Yeah,
we're
we've
gonna
not
do
heard it
bit
in a
of,
while.
Thank you, Buggerlegs.
and actually, on that note, well done to Buggerlegs. I think he got 2 top 8s this weekend.
Nice,
And,
good lad.
On this.
on Viscerai,
Oh,
he's been
my boy.
repping Viscerai as well. And,
Someone's doing it right, unlike
good
me.
job, Buggerlegs. Thanks for the jingle, and we'll do some what's hot and what's not.
Awesome. I've got a question to ask you guys, and this could be something that the audience can also partake in as well. In the comments on YouTube, like and subscribe. There you go. I got it in early.
Smashed it.
Every busted hero seems to be called the High Roller. Monarch, Chain, he's a High Roller. He just high rolls to win. And then Briar, you just high roll all the 0 attacks. Okay, and now we've got Starvo, who is the High Roller, who comes in with these big hits. And if you get these good combination of cards, it seems to be a common trend that these very powerful heroes, and when I say very powerful, they have like a very solid, aggressive deck. Why do we always think they're the High Rollers?
I think
I
there's
don't
definitely
recall
some
anyone.
psychology here.
I don't recall anyone referring to Briar as the High Roller.
That
I
was
don't
my
know.
first comment.
As my
okay.
initial comment.
So
Okay.
what
Well,
I
I do.
I do.
I
People do say a bit like, "Oh, you just you can high roll the nuttier."
I think it's
cards."
because
don't know.
people. I think I get what point you're trying to make is that a Chain and Starvo have a lot in common. From the old Chain deck, it was very banish dependent. If you banished really well, if you banished all your blood deck cards and you didn't banish your strong cards like Art of War and Shadow Puppetry, the power level of your deck was just so much higher than it. Had a huge ceiling power.
Yeah.
Right? And then this new Starvo deck is very similar to that in that it can just come out of the gates. If you draw the right cards early, you can just cripple your opponent very early in the game. And it's almost impossible for them to come back from that because they've lost so much life and so much tempo. It's a similar kind of feeling that you come up against old Chain back in the day and they just banished perfectly. They were playing out these crazy hands and you're like, there's nothing I can do. And it's the same with this Starvo deck.
I think it's whenever you get the pulse of Candlehold, that's when things start to just ramp up even worse.
But it's not even like there's any preparation involved in that, because, like as you say, Tripp, with old Chain, you often didn't last long enough in the game for your pitch to become relevant.
Yeah.
And with Starvo, yes, there are some second cycle Starvo decks going around. Namely Kael McCreath, for example, playing like a bit more like a normal Guardian, but most people are getting beaten by Starvos that are just drawing off the top of the deck early on.
The high element
the
versions.
high elements versions, and I think there's an element of psychology from people maybe that don't want to play those high variance decks, that actually they don't want to admit that those decks are, just even including the variants, better than the deck they want to play, so they put it down to a high roll. Maybe subconsciously put it down to a high roll to make themselves feel better about playing a deck that's not S tier. I don't know. That's probably a bit harsh.
I think that's a very very good point there. It feels unfair, but at the same time, the deck, there's averages. There's that you can get some bad averages, but there's still a sweet spot, isn't there? It's not guaranteed, but there's a sweet spot of the right amount of elements. And once you've got that, you're rolling, really, aren't you?
I think the Starvo deck with the high number of element cards in it, sort of looking at 16 or 17 of each element, with Crown of Seeds has a 50% probability of having 3 different elements within its hand. So half the time you're going to be
Get what you want.
activating Bravo's ability.
Yeah.
Yeah, which seems a bit high. I bet if you'd asked me a week ago, like, what do you think about Starvo? I'd probably just be like, it's awful, and I don't think it should be in the game. I think I actually said those exact words. Now I'm not so bothered because there's a direct counter to Starvo now in Aura Prism.
Yeah.
And Aura Prism is just doing fantastically. Like, Prism was always like a B tier kind of hero. Like it was in the UK. It was doing really well internationally and like winning tournaments. But in RTN and at Nationals, we didn't really see Prisms convert from the Swiss into top 8s particularly often. But now they've got this popular hero in Starvo that they just eat up.
Yeah, they've also got new tools as well.
And the new tools and the new auras, really. They've managed to reach... They've reached that aura density in the deck now that they can actually produce 2 auras per turn consistently.
I know.
And just flood the board. And I was chatting with a couple of Prism players over the ProQuest, and I was saying Prism is now playing a completely different game to the rest of the other heroes in Flesh and Blood because it's able to put its value on the board and leave it there, while other heroes play their cards and then they go to the grave and that's done. But Prism is taking cards from hand and putting it on the field where they continue to generate value, which is really good against heroes like Starvo who want to strip cards out of your hand because they come in with an Okadol to just play out your auras and your things. You're like, I don't care what I've got in my hand, I care what I've got on the field. That's more important to my game plan.
And Magic players, they're called permanents.
Yeah.
And unlike other auras like Channel Man Heroic or Channel Lake Frigid, yes, those illusionist auras can be destroyed, but that takes your whole action point. You don't get go again. You don't get unless you've got multiple action points with, for example, Scabskin Leather Rolls or
Lead the charge,
possibly Creepers activations. Like, you only get one chance to knock an aura down per turn. And if you're Prism and you're now able to pitch 4 and get a light illusionist aura out and then
end your turn,
play another aura to end your turn, that's huge.
It is huge. There is another hero that does something very similar to that though, which is Dash, because some of her cards is about laying these permanents on the board in the form of items, and they remain there and the only person that can really everyone can get rid of it now with Smash and Good Time. But there's something to be said about having something that sticks around, right? It does a lot of work, but it's kind of cool at the same time that as much as Prism is doing such a lot of work against Starvo, she's not sort of dominating everything else. Do you know what I mean? There's still heroes like Viserai. I'm sure someone will probably tell me, oh, maybe you're wrong. But I still think heroes like Viserai, even Bolton, can give her just a miserable time still, just because of the way they can slam down. I don't know really.
Just quickly moving back to that point about leaving things on the board state. I think we are seeing it a bit more with multiple heroes. You mentioned Dash. Dash was the original items in play. But then we had Prism and Chain from Monarch. Prism can obviously leave auras on the board, and Chain has a banish zone that he can play from.
Well, no, but they're not. But that's not that's not the same thing.
But it so they both allow you to bank things for future turns.
Yeah.
Right. And now you've got Guardians being able to heave as well to move resources from one turn in your hand now.
Yeah, but they're not the same sort of things, are they?
I'm making the comparison because it's allowing you to roll forward resources or permanents or like things that impact future turns, not just the turn you're on.
Sure.
Now.
So you're not relying on your hand.
You're not relying just on your hand now. You're able to, with Chain Banish, with Prism, get an aura out that maybe they can't destroy yet. With Guardian now, you can heave and get those Seismic Surge tokens for next turn and basically bank 3 resources. Or Awakening and get and multiple Seismic Surges for your next turn. We're seeing it more and more, and I think it brings a nice level of complexity to the game that we haven't seen up until like this critical mass of things that are occurring.
I agree. I think it's cool.
And I guess with
Yeah.
Viserai, you've got Rune Chance, for example.
Yeah,
as well.
exactly.
So,
That's what I was going to say. It's the same thing where you kind of want to overpower your opponent in Fab. You know, they're always going to have, when you're attacking them, they're always going to have access to 4 cards that will potentially defend against what you're doing. And that's quite efficient. You know, if you're generally attacking with 3 cards and you're using 1 card for pitch, if you manage to keep your whole hand, and they're always going to have 4 cards they're using to defend. You have to think, how am I going to get over the amount that they can defend? And if you're able to add resources, if you're able to add attacking power from something that isn't a card in your hand, it makes it much easier to overpower, you know, with Chain playing from the Banished Zone, with Viserai, augmenting your attacks with Rune Chance, that they're not going to be able to deal with 4 cards with your attacking hand and all of those Rune Chants you have on the field. And that's how you win a game, right? You overpower your opponent and then deal a ton of damage. And that's why you get in Fab that long drawn out late game sometimes, where you're just trying to find that 1 damage. You can't do it because, you know, you've used up all your good cards. You're left with the blues and then maybe a couple of reds you pitch around. You have to try and force your way through 12 block effectively for the opponent hero. And that could be really difficult to do. But Prism can just go ding, 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 ding with these auras. Enforce. It's just the classic Kodachi thing, isn't it? You know, you got to respect the one damage, and as you get lower and lower, you have to respect it. It's not even a choice anymore. You have to block it, and that's how they can kill you, by just chipping away at you with auras. And I do like it. I like how Starvo has created. It's not created Aura Prism, but it's given Aura Prism players an easy win. It's not always easy, but it's an easy-ish win to work their way up the Swiss. They can really feed off that hero and get into top 8s. And we're seeing them now convert into top 8 and also convert into wins, regularly convert into wins. So it's good to see. We always said Prism was a couple of good cards away from being overpowered. I don't want to say she's overpowered. I actually think, I've been running Briar for 3 ProQuests, and I've gone undefeated against Prisms. I've just, you know, every time I see a Prism, it's just been a good game and I've managed to win. But Briar just has been suffering against Viserai, and it doesn't have the best Starvo matchup. So it's an interesting meta. Trying to decide what to play is actually quite interesting at the moment.
Do you think it's wheedling down now? Where do you think it's as I don't think it's a few, but do you think it, like, you know, when you initially looked at it and you thought it was very open, are we now starting to see the cut and block a little bit of?
We are, but that just means that actually the rogue deck it is. We're basically at the moment looking at Starvo, Viserai, and Prism, right?
Yeah.
But then when you get that, you can start to think, well, can I get a deck that has a 50-50 matchup into 2 of those heroes, but an overpoweringly good matchup into the 3rd one, and can I use that to get my way to the top 8?
That's an interesting point. I suppose really the answer is probably no. My guess is that if you got a hero that can deal with two of the 3, take it.
Yeah.
Dodge the 3rd, unless the 3rd is very popular. So a lot of people would probably be happy to go, can I find a deck? Which there isn't. I don't think there is a deck that can beat Prism and Starvo and dodge Viserai.
Yeah. But if you find it, good luck, because you'll probably win your next ProQuest. That's the thing to find, is the build that can do that.
Yeah.
Do you know, I would say, just from what I've seen of the ProQuest season so far, I think there is a build that can beat Bravo and Prism, and that is Katsu, but it is an instant loss to Viserai.
Well, dodge. Maybe that's, you know, people don't want to do that, but it is an instant loss to Viserai. But Viserai isn't exactly pulling in too much numbers compared to the Prisms and Starvos. So, you know, would you take that 1 loss against a Viserai to get a good matchup against everyone else? I don't know, but we could digress.
And the Prism matchup isn't as solid with Katsu now because of the multiple auras either. And maybe it's just because people aren't used to playing against Katsu. However, we digress.
We digress. Anyway, yeah.
It's been an interesting season. It's been, playing Briar. It started off well and then went a bit downhill as I always thought it would, because I thought Starvo would just get refined to the point where it's even better than it originally was, and it does feel that way. Prism is just getting better and better, which is actually fine. I don't really mind playing against Prism. Like I said, I haven't lost to Prism. But that Viserai deck just completely... The new Viserai is just so aggressive. And the way it can switch on a dime and just be like, yeah, I'm an OTK now. After you've been trading blows with it and you're like, yep, I'm just going to build Rune Chance, Skeletor, Sonata, and you're like, oh, I'm dead. And it's just...
I do think one interesting observation from the last couple of weeks is the geographical divide on the meta.
Yeah.
And what we've seen in general, and this is a big generalization, is that the further north you go, there are more Starvo, and the further south you go, there are more Prism and potentially Viserai, to the extent where in Brighton on Sunday there were 2 Starvos in an event of 30 odd people and 9 Prisms, I think. And the other way around in Derby, we had 14 Starvos and 5 Prism.
Yeah, it does feel that way. There was always a lot of Guardian players up north though, and I don't blame them for switching to Starvo.
I think we have been in a fortunate position in the Midlands where if there is a Midlands event on its own during a certain weekend, we often get people from the north and people from the south, and we get quite a balanced turnout.
Yeah, someone was saying the Midlands is basically the toughest because you get all the good players from the south, all the good players from the north, can all travel there, which I thought was kind of cool. Yeah, like it is a bit of a battleground. Yeah,
I'll be interested to see. Obviously, with Living Realms having 64 tickets to be sold or nearly sold, to see what turns up there. I think that will be
going to be so good. It's always a good time at Living Realms. I was really badly sick last time, and I still had a good time. It's just because the vibe there is always great. Like.
I won't be going, unfortunately.
I
know. I wish I could, but.
And then it's back there for the skirmish and battle hardened. I'm going to that one too, so it's going to be the Fab Fest. Yeah, just can't stop playing Fab, guys. Except when I want to play Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. But, should we move on to the interview?
Yeah, let's do it.
Love to. Thanks very much. Here's Jonny Chapman.
Excellent segue. Just like so efficient.
How are you doing, Jonny?
Hey Simon, I'm great, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm doing very well indeed, and even better for speaking to you today as well.
Very kind.
Thank you for taking the time to come and have a chat with me today. We've got some stuff to dive into, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you for having me. It's a dream of mine, actually, since I started playing the game to get on the podcast. I didn't want to say anything, but now it's here, so I'm super happy. Thank you.
Well, that's very nice to hear, and I'm sorry to have shafted you with the dice over the weekend. Sorry, Hamish came to your rescue. Like, you've already got one of our first edition hats. You won that on the stream recently, and then even on your birthday, I was being a stingy holdout and not giving you a dice, and Hamish just comes and throws them at you on the Sunday.
It's fine. I will remember Hamish's charitable gesture and might not forget yours.
Yeah, I get that. So, as we've said, you won your first ProQuest on Saturday at York. Like, how are you feeling? It's a couple of days removed. How's it settled in?
It took a while to hit me, to be honest. It was such a long day. It was an intense day. There were some really great players, some great decks, and some really strong, intense matches. And sometimes it takes a bit of time for you to sort of sit back and go, I've won a slot to the Pro Tour. I'm going to New York. I've achieved my aim, which was, it was brilliant.
So I was fortunate enough to share a lift there and back with you, and we almost got paired up in the first round. That barring a repair very shortly after that, it could have gone a different way for both of us that day.
Yeah, when I sat down and saw your name, I was like, "Oh no, this is terrible. Like, one of us is going to have a disastrous start." But fortunately, Matt Light hadn't been registered properly, so yeah, that caused a redraw.
Caused the issue. Another local boy causing issues. Yeah. So I mean, not only did you win on Saturday, but you've also top-8'd in the previous 2 ProQuests that you went to. Like, I mean, this has been an ongoing development of your deck. So tell us what deck you were playing and tell us how you've been enjoying that.
Yeah, thank you. So I've been playing Starvo. The guys that I kind of chat to a lot. So that's mainly like Matt Light, Tom Hall, and a couple of other guys that won't be so familiar yet with the community, we kind of decided that Starvo was probably the most degenerate deck and the best deck. And we all sort of went about it in our own way, working out what kind of element ratio we should be having and what kind of strategy we should have. And we kind of settled on the core of 52 elements, and then bringing in 8 disruptive attacks for the most part, based on the matchup. So yeah, I mean, Spinal Crush against the decks that want to go again, generally always bringing in Crippling Crush. And then I was generally bringing in a few tech cards, so trying to expose to the elements in the mirror. I did kill quite a few sort of opposing Starvo Crown of Seeds.
Nice.
Which won me one match, but actually didn't make too much difference in the other matches. And funnily enough, the evolution of the deck meant that we didn't play Expose the Elements in the Mirror week 2. But week 1, my deck was set up very poorly because I wasn't playing Awakening. I wasn't sold on Awakening.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because the deck already had 6 instants, and I was just like, I don't really want to have my deck 15% instants and you'll not be able to block in certain situations. So I was like, I don't think I need Awakening. And then I basically got pumped when I didn't have Awakening against John Ho.
Absolutely.
And then Matt Light dismantled me in the quarterfinal of the second day. And he just Awakening pulverized, and I was like, yeah, I've got no catch-up mechanics. So I was convinced that, I had to change this for the next week.
So that was my lasting memory of your quarterfinal mirror match. I believe it was that match. You were playing Liam Holden, who'd gone undefeated in the Swiss in York, and you were 8th seed, squeaked in as the 8th seed in the top 8, and it was a very, very close match until you fused Awakening and then pulverized him.
Yeah, that was a pivotal point. I've actually been chatting to Liam quite a bit after about the deck and sort of the evolution of it. So he took the full 14. He was smashing it because his deck set up to fuse like 60% of the time, we worked out. And then when that pulverize came in, the following turn for him was a Crippling Crush for 5. A fused Oakenold for 5.
Yeah,
because
of the -4 from pulverize, right?
Yeah, and that's what really won the match. He wasn't able to get out. It was easy to block out with the armor and a card. And at that point, he's then loses tempo, and he then drew a hand that had a bunch of instants and couldn't block the final attack. It was a very swingy match, very scary match. I honestly thought I was, going to be eliminated in the quarterfinal because he'd played remarkably well to go 6-0. He's on the play, and for those who don't know, the play is obviously massive in the Starvo mirror. It makes such a difference.
Especially if you draw the Captain Planet combo to go first as well. You just can't put up enough block, right?
Yeah, it's. I honestly thought I was leaving with a cold fall Levier, but
Sorry,
fortunately,
your name's not Matt Folks. It's
yeah. I think his collection might expand even further over the season of cold fall Leviers. But the thing that really helped against Liam and in general was Shock Charmers, which doesn't seem like a card that's sort of great for Starvo, but that card has been immense for me every time I've played it. And I have to give credit to Joe Stamper, a local player, regularly in the top 10. He was the one that sort of alerted me to this. And what it means is you can just mulligan your hand without attacking, because you really don't want to be attacking turn 1 in the Starvo mirror and allowing your opponent to mulligan, unless it's like a fused Bravo attack or whatever.
Yeah.
You can't just go attack for 7, because your opponent could just filter everything. So if you're going first, you can just go Shock Charmers my hand away, Arsenal pass, or if they're doing the same, you just Shock Charmers your hand away, and the chances of drawing the Bravo combo are really, really high.
I was going to say, and in a deck that relies on cycling your hand to try and improve those odds, it's huge. And Joe managed to do something nasty to me on the Sunday ProQuest, where he was able to pitch an extra ice card to keep Channel Lake Frigid up for an extra turn, just because you've got Shock Charmers. So it's not just for the mulligan, it can also be used to manipulate your pitch zone as well. Yeah,
massively. And that was huge for me in the semi-final against Liam on Prism. Callum on Prism.
Yeah.
Callum played really well, but he was under Channel Lake Frigid for 2 turns in a row, both lasting 2 turns. So 4 consecutive turns of Channel. The pressure, it meant he couldn't build up any auras or any shields, and it really helped me get a footing in the game. And I'd recommend Shock Charmers to any Starvo player.
Oh, well, I'm sure all the Starvo players out there are thanking you for your sweet, sweet tech. And what my final question just on the Starvo deck and the Starvo play is, have you enjoyed playing that deck? Or is it just that you've enjoyed winning? Tell me about that.
Well, winning's always fun, but I enjoy the deck. I sing in my head "Domine" when I'm drawing it up. I tell you what, though, it's miserable to be on the receiving end of it, though. There were definitely matches I played, specifically twice against Matt Light, where he just completely rolled me with fusing Starvo over and over, and I was like, I kind of understand how other people feel now. This is actually miserable, to borderline devastating. But I just like really enjoy that kind of deck. I've always enjoyed. It is a bit of a high roll deck. There's no denying that. But the deck is set up in a way that you are able to high roll about 50% of the time if you crowd. It's just slightly over 50% is the maths. So it's not like an unreasonable thing. But the deck feels so powerful, and when it does roll those 4 cards and you see like a generic guardian attack and your 3 elements, it feels great, and it's a lot of fun.
I was going to say high rolls is an interesting term because it implies complete luck and above average luck, when in reality you have built a deck that has a greater than 50% chance of doing that every turn.
Yeah, I mean,
it depends how you put the cards together, right?
Exactly. So there's a calculator that was linked to me, made by a person far smarter than I could ever dream of being. And you just literally input like how many earth cards, how many ice cards, how many lightning, how many pulsers, and then whether you're going to use your crown or not. And it kind of works out to, so it's 34.34% of the time my deck will naturally draw the Bravo elements, and 51.04% of the time, if you crown, it will hit as well. So I mean, they're not unreasonable odds. Like if people are familiar with poker, like equities like that are how vast sums of money are won and lost on a minutely basis.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, credit has to go to you and your group for building a deck that is less reliant on luck and more reliant on probabilities.
Yeah, and well, I have to give credit to Tom Hall, because I used to like board up to 62 cards, and I got soundly chewed out for that. Like it's sometimes because we were playing like defense reactions week 1, and then we just kind of realized that you just want to stand toe to toe with your opponent and both swing, and if somebody has a defense reaction, then their next turn is generally very, very limp, and they're kind of open to an attack the following turn. So we just took our defense reactions out, and we're just like, it's elements and 8 attacks, pretty much. I mean, there's the odds. Exactly. I mean, like there might be the imposing visage will come in against like Chain and Bolton as an example, to just have a 4th Channel Lake Frigid, because those decks can fold to Channel Lake Frigid, which for me is the best card probably in Flesh and Blood, in all honesty.
It bit me more than once this weekend, so I would have to agree with you right now. I mean, you've been in the game how long now, Johnny?
So I went to my friend Tom's stag do, I think it was late September, and I got a train back with Matt Light, and he was like, all right, let's go to the local game store. I'm going to get some decks, because I'd known Matt from playing Magic for many years. We even lived together for a short amount of time. And he was like, I'm going to teach you Flesh and Blood, you're going to love it. And I was like, all right, let's do it. I was looking for something. I traditionally played a lot of Magic, and I was kind of really sort of disillusioned with how Magic was going in terms of competitive play, and how everything was forced online and stuff like that. And we got 2 Ira decks, and he soundly trounced me like 4 or 5 games in a row. But I kind of really enjoyed the mechanics, and the fact that there's a game from the off. You're not just going to sort of stall on your 3rd turn and miss an important resource, and that's the end of the game. There were decisions to be made, and I was like, this is really cool. It was a bit weird because Ira versus Ira is not so much blocking, right? It's just like a bunch of attacks into attack. So
especially those decks in particular, I think whoever goes second is usually on a winning streak if you maintain. But it sounds like a very familiar story to a lot of people getting into Flesh and Blood that way. And I think a lot of people, once you've played one game, you see the potential, right? You see where this game could go.
Absolutely, and especially when you sort of transition towards blitz decks, which was for me was like the first step really. My first event was like the Tales of Aria pre-release. I was hideous. I had to play you. I had to play John Ho. I put Ranger cards in my Guardian deck. That didn't go so well.
That was quite funny, though.
And I was like, I promise I could read somewhat. But no, it was all a great experience. To be honest, I just wanted to open packs and try and get some cold foils because I'm a huge magpie. I love shiny cards. And Matt had sold me, like, half of the game was sold to me on like the sort of the reserved list element of cold foils and how like they will never be reprinted, and the fact that the game does care about your collection. And like LSS, well, I was sort of researching them a bit and looking into them, and a lot of their ethos was like really by the players for the players, rather than what we've seen lately with certain other games, and it's like by corporations for wallets kind of thing.
Yeah, and what a breath of fresh air after Hasbro have come in and completely whitewashed Magic, right? I think it's a refreshing viewpoint on gaming.
Yeah, it really is. It's like, I mean, Magic Hasbro sort of forgot or didn't learn how they got big, how Magic got big in the first place, which was guys like me and my friends traveling to PTQs every weekend, week in, week out, traveling to GPs, traveling to Pro Tours and supporting the game from the competitive side. And then that sort of fell away and they transitioned everything to online. And, a lot of my lasting memories are from going to events with my friends and having these experiences, and not just at the gaming table, but like going out afterwards, getting people out of their shell, dancing, enjoying the local scenes and stuff like that. Like it really saddened me that they were just like, okay, here's a product, here's a new product, here's a new product, and like 15 different versions of different cards. Like, I like collecting now. I didn't before. I used to be a lot more hyper competitive, and I would like buy cards, sell cards just to survive as a student. But now I'm sort of, I was 41 last weekend, so
on the day you won a ProQuest, in fact.
Yeah, that was just weird how that lined up. But
so just a quick aside, you've mentioned sort of community elements there. I vividly remember you at the Tales of Aria pre-release event being quite cagey, and as you said, we played and you were spending a lot of time reading the cards, and you seemed quite introverted at the time, and I know that's not necessarily the case now, but how did you feel coming into a new community like that? How did you feel they welcomed you, and what was your experience there? So
the local community is absolutely amazing. Like, not only I mean, it's tough when you're sort of so the reason I was sort of introverted at the pre-release was because I knew I was going to do terrible, and my goals were not to win the pre-release. My goal was literally to get familiar with the game. I still didn't even know the rules, and I just didn't want to embarrass myself, because like, this is the first time that the community is going to see me as a person, and like, it's a sad fact of human nature, but people tend to make first impressions, and those tend to last quite a long time. And it's difficult to sort of undo these things, and I'm like fully aware of this. So I don't want to be seen as like some magic guy that thinks he's going to come and destroy the scene or anything like that, because that's just totally not what I was about. I just wanted to learn a new game, meet new people, and have fun, and maybe win some participation prizes. That was literally my goal. But the community, I mean, I can really only speak about the community in Nottingham, which obviously you're a part of. It's amazing. Everyone's super friendly. Everyone's like, oh, you're a Ranger player. I've got this Ranger promo. I don't really need it. Have it. I've got this playmat. You don't need it. I don't need it. Have it. Like, everyone cares about everyone else. Like in Magic, the community was a lot more like me for me, rather than sort of me for everyone. And I feel that, like, not only is the community really welcoming, really friendly, understanding, like I played Hamish, not push the point Hamish.
Hamish Dean.
Yeah, my first ever match with like a chain pre-release deck, and I had to read every card 15 times, and the poor guy had to put up with me taking like 10 minutes on a turn, and we ended up tying against his Dorinthia deck, which he probably should have just absolutely smashed me with, but unfortunately it took a bit too long. But he was really understanding, and I was like, I apologize like 15 times, but he's aware that this game is not easy. This game is hard, and that's why it's great. It's a challenge. It's not like there's only a couple of things I can do. You generally have so many options to do. And the other thing I love about our community in Nottingham specifically is that, like, we are very strong in terms of talent and ability. So like you had a fantastic showing at Nationals. Jacob Hand is always in the top 5.
Yeah.
Like Isaac Murray's like #1 90-day XP for a good dominating for a good few months now, and he's probably going to qualify for the Pro Tour just by like sheer hard work.
Yeah, exactly.
And Joe Stamper's always in the top 10, and there's other great. Like too many people to list really, but like. Yeah, we're a strong community. I see us as maybe one of the strongest in the country.
We've also got, I mean, an incredible resource and an incredible pillar of the community. Obviously, James Armstrong, who builds blitz decks like they're going out of fashion, and is the only level 2 judge in the country right now. So, like having that resource in a local community is huge as well.
It's massive, and he was instrumental for me really. Like at the start, he gave me a bunch of blitz decks, which I just sort of worked through, and I was playing like at my house against myself, trying to sort of familiarize. He's great with the rules. Like he's a fantastic resource, and he's a genuinely like nice, caring guy as well. Like he knew I was a wizard player. He had a wizard card that I didn't need, that he didn't need, and he just gave it to me, and I was like, oh, please let me know what you need. He's like, no, and like yeah, having James around is really, really probably one of the reasons that Nottingham is such a strong community. And he was rewarded with a playmat. I think it was the Christmas Bauble playmat.
That's right, yeah. Dib sorted him out.
Yeah, and everyone was super happy for him that he got that, and he definitely deserved that.
So just wheeling it back round, you've mentioned poker, you've mentioned Magic, and you've also mentioned how difficult this game can be. Like, what skills do you think you've brought across from those other gaming endeavors?
That's a great question. So I was fortunate in Magic that like I wasn't the best Magic player. I wasn't terrible. I was better than most people, but my friends that I hung around with, like, so I was at University in London and I'd go and spend every weekend at their flat. They were like the elite players basically. And from there I learned how to like evaluate cards, and sort of it was a difficult initial transition from Magic to Flesh and Blood, because the Flesh and Blood cards are just weaker. But that's because power creep in Magic is insane. So to start with, I was like trying to compare like how good would this be in a Magic sort of situation, and that really wasn't helping me. So as an example, like I was just dismissing blue cards that block for 3 with terrible abilities. I was like, oh, this is unplayable. Okay. And not really like sort of understanding that, block 3 is really huge, like pitch 3 is really huge, and having a bonus on top of that is like Rob Catton mentioned in the previous interview, Deck Tech. It doesn't matter what the ability does as long as it does something. And I was like, you know what? I was thinking about these things incorrectly. But like, there was a lot of stuff that went on in Magic and sort of in poker as well, which was like sort of playing the game without playing the game. So it would be like sending sort of signals, also like kind of like bluffing in a way that you might have the pommel when you're attacking with a CNC, or like playing in certain ways that might put things in people's minds, and like it. I think it's definitely an aspect of TCGs. As a prime example, I sleeved up 3 tokens in my PQ ProQuest win, which was a Seismic Surge, a Frostbite, and a Silver token, and I just put all 3 on the table at the start of every match. And like, it really bamboozled a couple of people. Like John Ho spent about 5 minutes trying to think, what could I be playing that would, be a silver token? And it was just a red herring. But like, it does slightly make people think about things in a different way. And I don't know, that some people might not view that as cooler. And like, if that's something the community thinks bad, then I wouldn't do that in future.
But you're right. I mean, in terms of, sometimes you only need a one of in a deck, that if you reveal it, or if the opponent sees it from a pitch or whatever, they automatically assume maybe there are 3 of those in the deck, and then that's going to be a threat for the rest of the game. So in a similar way, you can build your deck to show, oh look, I've got a pommel in my deck, but actually it only has to be a one of for them to respect that for the rest of the game.
Exactly. Blue pommel is something that I pretty much want to run in every single deck that I play. Just
a
like,
pitch. Yeah,
just a pitch. Because people then start having to play around it, and it's like generally not attacking with a CNC unless you have a pommel, and now your pommels and now your CNCs are going to get overblocked. So you can sort of win cards in that way as well.
Even better if you pitch a blue CNC a blue pommel to play a CNC, and they think, well, it must have a pommel in hand. Thank you for that insight, and it's really interesting hearing from people, especially for someone like myself who hasn't come from a card gaming background, and how that transfers. So with that experience, then with all of this, let's try and wrap this up a little bit. Have you got any advice for people just getting into the game now? Anyone listening today that maybe is on the edge about getting into the game or is just starting out?
Yeah, so it's a tough game. Give it some time. Like, it's not as linear as other card games are. The reason I think this game is so great is because there are complex lines that take a bit of thinking about. And if you're willing to put in the time and the effort, you will be rewarded greatly, because the satisfaction of winning a game of Flesh and Blood is so much higher than any other game that I've played, in all honesty. Like, and the elation and sort of that I felt from winning that PTQ and the relief, like, really had a sense of achievement and pride. So there are plenty of resources out there. Like, I've learned a lot from watching Push the Point. I've learned a lot from watching Arsenal Pass, just from talking to people in general in the community. And don't be afraid to engage with people in your community. Like, there's always going to be some people that might be a little bit difficult to interact with. TCGs generally have, sort of a way of attracting personalities on that way. But for the most part, people are really cool. They want to share. Like, I played Kashi in like round 6, who's a Bolton enthusiast. He's super confident in himself in the deck. And we spent a good 15 minutes after the match sort of analysing what could have been different and stuff like that. People like that exist all over, and just chat to them, learn from them, and try and become one yourself. So once you've sort of gone into your community and learned, when new people come in, you can see the experience and path that they followed because you've followed it yourself. So help guide them along it, basically. And then together we can sort of grow the community. And yeah, just look after your cards as well, because one day they might be worth a lot of money.
They might be worth a lot of money. Maybe they are right now.
Yeah.
Some of them are. Jonny Chapman, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me today and have a chat. Congratulations on your ProQuest win. Congratulations on 2 further ProQuest top 8s. And I know you've got a few more events coming up, so good luck in those as well.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure, Simon.
Who are you?
Who are you? Sorry, I've been listening to
Blink.
Yeah, all day.
Wow.
Well, what song, Tripp?
Just on like Spotify. Just had it on while I was working today.
So you were busting out the Blink, yeah?
Where are you? Do your best.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
Cannot sleep. That's usually how my nighttime ends, and I end it on that bit. I cannot sleep.
Welcome back. Thanks, Jonny. Great interview. I'm trying to keep this ship on track.
Oh, right.
Let's go. Excellent ship keeping on track, science. So we've spoken about ProQuests. What's next on the agenda, Simon?
Probably another short apology video about the 500 subs. Because
about that. It turns out we play far too many games and just haven't had enough time to do anything productive.
It's coming.
With that.
It's coming. Don't worry. It's coming.
The ultimate tease, isn't it?
I've actually arranged all my prizes together. I know what I'm going to be putting in my box. Do you know what you're going to put in your boxes, guys?
I know what I'm putting in my box.
Oh.
Yeah, I know what I've got a few things, but I don't know if I have enough. Like, I need to.
I think Simon's
how
going
much
to be
you're
like,
putting in your box.
I'm not giving them anything.
Well, we've already heard I'm a stingy.
Yeah,
So
I love it.
bastard.
I'll actually love it if someone just goes, right, here's the Tripp box. Ooh, okay, here's the Hamish box. Oh,
Yeah.
And then Simon says, literally nothing. He's like, well, it's the mystery box.
Simon's is just a box with a £10 note.
Yeah.
That's all I'm giving.
Do you want this amazing prize or do you want the mystery box?
Yeah.
I heard the budget was £10, so I put £10 cash in.
I had it all in
You're
2p's.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I've taken off the cost of postage.
Anyway, so yeah, we are going to sort it. We've got the prizes together, and then I think we're going to get our heads together and actually just knuckle it down. Once we've actually know what we're going to put together, we're going to. I think it's just because we're living so far away from each other.
Yeah.
Logistically, trying to get all the stuff together it's actually slightly annoying, but we're gonna get it sorted. My wife's been giving me some cool creative idea tips to make a cool box up for you guys. So we're getting there.
Nice.
We're getting there. So be patient. By the time we get this out, we'll hopefully have 600 subs, and we're like, well, the number is growing. Anyway, what is our next point of call, Simon?
I think we need a jingle.
What's hot and what's not?
It's what's hot, what is not. That's what it is, right?
Yeah, you made this up.
What's hot, what's not, everyone. Mid ProQuest edition of What's Hot, What's Not. So, in case you're new here, we're going to go through every hero in the game of Flesh and Blood, and we're going to give you hot takes on whether we think they're hot or not. This is very much from the soul, from the heart, initial feelings. Very little thought goes into it.
Yeah.
I've not thought about it in advance, so we're just going to say the first thing that comes out of my mouth. So, Simon, you normally run us through the list.
Do you want to start? Do you want to start with new heroes or old heroes?
Let's start with old heroes because we normally work. It also ends quite dramatically if we do it.
Okay, Rhinar.
Not hot.
Not hot. Though it did get a ProQuest top 8, I believe, recently.
It did get a ProQuest top 8.
We used to always say that Rhinar was Rhinar, and it's fine. But this time, I'm like, no, I give up. He's not hot.
Rhinar didn't get the tools that Rhinar needed to.
No,
it did get some stuff, and actually, I think some of the stuff is actually okay. Swing Big is actually pretty decent.
That's the best card he got.
Not enough stuff, unfortunately. Taking the hero in a strange direction, I don't think.
Yeah,
okay. It's good.
It didn't do anything.
Yeah, not hot.
Anyway,
okay, Dorinthia.
I want to say hot just because of
axes.
Dyson
just
taking
because of
axes.
A Dyson top 8 with axes.
I think it's a cool deck. I'm not sold though.
Yeah,
but I want it to be proven wrong.
It's a fun deck.
Respect though.
Yeah. I like the fact that they turn one weapons into something good.
If we're going to give credit, then Dyson for taking it to the top 8, but Adam East put the deck together. So well done to both of them.
So it's definitely not hot, right? So
not
it's
hot.
not hot.
Katsu.
No, bag of shit. Not hot. Sorry,
No.
Finbar is terrible.
He's my
Especially
boy,
when you
but
miss a razor.
Still. Oh!
Triggered.
Triggered.
Triggered. No, he's not good. He's not good.
So he's had multiple top 8s in the ProQuest season so far.
Mm-hmm.
He has potential. He just doesn't have a game plan to deal with Runeblade. Not hot.
Yeah,
it's
not hot.
Trash.
Trash. Bravo. Original Bravo.
He's. You know what?
I have to say, not hot at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm just not seeing anybody play original Bravo.
I've actually
Hamish
played up
did.
against. Oh God. I've played up against it. So Kingdom Gaming, I just absolutely space jammed one guy out of the game, and in the second game, I ended up in the first ever draw I've ever had, and it was
Well done,
miserable.
Alex Perry.
The opponent was lovely. Didn't realize about the draw is worse than the loss, and I kind of experienced it for myself for the first time. Oh, nothing's actually happened with him. You think it has, and it hasn't. So he's
Not
boring. So
He's got a fairly good matchup into Starvo, but he instant losses to Prism. So
yeah, nah,
Yeah.
okay, moving on. Azalea.
Not hot.
Never hot, never will be.
Mean
Everyone
deck.
always says Azalea is
I
gonna,
like it. It's
gonna
not hot,
win.
but it's fun.
It never happens.
No, she's not
Never
hot.
happened.
What's the point?
Why is it always sadness, Tripp?
Why is it always sadness? 160
I'll give you.
comments.
I'm going to
Thank
give you a commendation for that one.
That joke does only work for us three because it was in the preamble.
Kano.
Kano is
not
as hot
hot.
as his null runes.
There were 3 Kano at Darksphere,
Yeah.
but it just didn't seem to. Even this is the thing with Kano is Kano should be good enough that if you don't run null rune, if you don't respect Kano, you should win every game, and that's not the case. At the moment, it's you win a lot of the games against people that don't run null rune, and if they do have null rune in their sideboard, you nearly always lose. So I feel like Kano should be strong enough that if people don't respect you, you should just always win that game. But it doesn't. It just doesn't seem to happen, does it?
No.
They still don't always win.
I mean,
and it's
there was a
like,
Kano
what-
at Boards and Swords, and they went 4-2. They narrowly missed the cut.
Oh. Was that Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kano players, tell us what do you need? What is the deck missing? I'd
They
be
got
really
given a
interested.
good new card.
I mean, I'll tell you what they need, and that's Ether Wildfire, because that is just a ridiculous card.
yeah. It is a
But it
very
doesn't
strong
seem
card.
to be enough. Just doesn't seem to be enough, does it?
No, because if you brick,
I'd
brick
love
off,
to see
if you brick off a
Kano and
Kano
CC.
activation, it ends you. You need to race, and it ends you.
Yeah, I think Kano's a really interesting hero in Classic Constructed. I hate it in Blitz. I think in Classic Constructed it's really interesting, and I like the fact that you go into a
puts the
tournament,
pressure
you're like,
on,
oh,
yeah.
maybe I'm going to play against one of these guys. But I'd like to see it get a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
Viserai.
it's not hot at the moment.
Not
Oh.
hot. Sorry, Kano, not hot. Viserai?
Viserai is hot. Yeah,
Hot Viserai's.
I do
a pillar.
think Viserai is doing well by just being
Viserai.
the
Sorry,
best
Hamish. What's
sort
that?
of.
Viserai's what?
A pillar.
He's hot, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's I think he's beyond hot now.
You've
He's-
put so much effort in, Hamish. What happened?
Oh, shut up.
Okay.
Well,
So
imagine
just
taking one of
don't-
the hottest heroes and
Yeah.
go, no, I'm not going to play it.
I think Viserai is just pretty good into every hero at the moment.
He's flexible.
And it is that flexibility of
He does
having
yoga.
the OTK and the really the aggression on Viserai now with swarming and
it's huge.
is great. Swarming and Revel in
Swarming,
you
Revel,
you can
and
do
Rune Flash,
old
like,
Lightning Briar style turns in Viserai, and it's
Off
just
of zero
absolutely
pitch.
dirty. Yeah, off zero pitch.
Mordred
exactly. It's
Tide.
just like, oh.
Yeah, I
more
know.
Swarming,
Revel.
Gloom
Oh,
Veil,
well,
Revel,
Mordred
and
Revel.
Rune Blood.
If you
Mordred,
haven't-
Swarming, Revel, blah blah blah, and you
Jeez.
just die.
If you haven't seen it already, I've done a Viserai 2.0 deck tech that should be up on YouTube shortly. If you've listened to this afterwards, then
There are many small violins, and it's been dubbed the Lost Deck.
it is the lost deck. But unfortunately, it was a well crafted deck that I decided to leave in my car to have a miserable time. I travelled an hour to have a horrible time. Anyway, yeah, Viserai's
the
hot.
things you'll do to remain the bubble boy, Hamish.
No,
Yeah, I know.
this is not even
Didn't
bubble
even
boy.
bubble.
Didn't even bubble. This is the bubble pop. This was
Okay, moving on.
I'm Fallout
Viserai's
boy.
hot. Viserai's hot.
Yeah, Viserai's hot.
Moving on. Dash.
Dash is not hot.
I concur.
I like that. Dash
Hamish,
is
do you
not hot.
concur?
I concur. I think she's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
go.
not good.
I think it's
not-
boring. I think this is where my head
Oh,
gets
it's
into.
so dull to play Control Dash.
No,
I
it's not.
hate
It's not
playing
even. It's
it.
not even so much about what you're doing. It's that I just don't. Maybe I'm trying to see something brand new, and you don't need to do anything brand new. So my ideas and my excitement about it just sort of goes, yeah. And I bet you everyone else is the same. They sort of look at it and go, but it's not doing anything new. And
We've identified that it's boring. Should we just leave the boring stuff behind?
There's also too many counters. I'm not playing a board game. I'm playing a
Oh,
card game.
but we just
I don't
talked
want
about
5
Prism.
million counters everywhere.
we just
Well,
talked about
we'll
Prism.
get on to Prism in a minute.
Yeah.
Tokens
I-
of Aura's voice.
I think-
Okay, let's go on. Prism.
Yeah.
all right, well, we didn't even know. Did we rate it?
Prism
You said
is
not
hot.
hot. No, you said Dash isn't hot.
Dash
I'll
is
go
not
fuck
hot.
it. All right, fine, not hot. Moving on, Prism.
Prism is hot. Prism is tier 1. I think Prism is the best hero in the game right now.
Ooh.
More than Starvo. Well, Prism beats Starvo.
Right, and then Viserai beats Prism.
No, it doesn't. though.
Oh, no, it does.
That's the thing. It
Yes,
doesn't.
does. God,
Prism is, in my opinion, the best hero in the game.
you
right
should
now.
see my deck tech. Prism would be shaking in her boots after that deck tech.
I think Viserai and Prism is like a,
It's not
a good
50-50.
Solid
50-50.
50-50.
You win
It's
them, you
not
lose
a
them.
no. I've never lost to Viserai. I've never lost to Prism. Maybe I'm talking about me.
You lost to Prism when you didn't take Viserai.
Yeah.
I know.
You got starvoed
no,
out.
no, I'm sidelining here just very shortly. Here's a statistic. Here's a fact. Here's a fun fact for everyone. Throughout my entire time of me playing Flesh and Blood, throughout the Road to National season, and the ProQuest season, I have not faced off against Prism in a 1-to-1 match in any event whatsoever. So
It's a fun fact. At RTN, Nationals, and ProQuest, I've never lost to a Prism. And I've actually
neither have I.
played a lot of them as well.
Oh,
I lost to Jake the other night at Armory, and I was so sad because I was like, that's my
do you
Prism
feel
days over.
dirty? You do.
Is that true? That could be a lie. I think that's if you're a Prism player and you've beaten me, DM me.
Okay.
Not Jake. Jake, I know you've beaten me.
I've never, as my Bolton, I've never lost to Prism, and I think losing to Prism it just makes you feel a little bit like, oh man, maybe I should quit.
Okay, so Prism's hot.
Prism is hot.
Yeah, Prism's
moving
hot.
on. Bolton, because you just said it.
Bolton is
Trash.
not hot. Though someone did win a pro.
Wow.
I don't know
I was
how
going
they
to
did
say,
it.
so Kashi
Yeah.
Kashi
Deck inside out.
plays Bolton Sabres, and he's been giving a huge amount of chat on the Light Warrior Discord channel. And do you know what? 2 ProQuests, he backed it up.
Yeah,
He won-
fair.
He
fair.
got to the final in both, and he split the prizes in with Rob Catton in one, and he played off against Jonny Chapman in the other in York, and he lost against a Starvo, but he backed it up.
No, he
Bolton
did.
is not hot, but you're a good player.
Yeah,
so-
you're a good player, but sorry,
how
can't
it
convince
works.
me. Bolton's trash.
Bolton Sabres not hot.
If you take your time
Bolton
and
Raiden,
you master
not
a
hot.
hero,
Well
I think
played,
that's what
Kashi.
happens.
Yeah, well played, Kashi.
It's the
Levi.
same with Chain and Rob. Levi,
No,
I think we got a. Did we get a top 8 with Levia?
no.
Or was it a Vrinar? No, it's not hot anyway. Sorry.
That's not hot.
Our good friend Darren, who's always played Levia, just had his wedding last weekend. Congratulations!
Congratulations,
Darren, on getting
Darren.
married.
Congratulations.
So we've not seen Levia much though. That's the other.
I don't think you would have brought it anyway.
So maybe once he's a bit more settled, we'll see the grand return of Levia. But congrats,
Maybe.
Darren.
Okay, not hot.
No.
Chain.
But not hot.
Yeah, fine.
I got a controversial opinion. I don't think Chain is hot.
Tripp, but
I don't
he's your
think Chain's hot.
boy.
I don't get it. I'm not. I know people
What do
are
you mean
winning
you don't
with
get
as
it?
well.
Of course you
really,
get it.
Really good players are winning with it as well.
So
Yeah.
I know what
I
know what you're
I
saying,
don't-
Tripp, because
I don't think
you
it's that good.
What?
you don't like the current decks that are out there. Like you like the very much banished.
when I
50
play
I liked
Chain,
it when it was broken.
No, it's not. I do like playing broken decks.
I know
Don't
you
get
do.
me wrong. But the beauty of Chain was the blood deck mechanic, and it was just everything was just like you were selling your soul
Everything
to-
is awesome.
to assert, and you were like, you felt powerful, and then suddenly you'd gone too far, and then you died, and that just was so satisfying to play. Like you it felt like you were playing as Chain. The new Chain just feels like it doesn't feel the same, and I recognize it's a good deck and it's winning tournaments, but to me, it's not hot because it's lost that selling your soul to the devil aspect.
Well, it kind of
It's not
has. You're just
Chain.
selling
I
your
still
soul
think it's
to a
hot.
different devil.
You're just getting a worse deal.
Yeah. It just never. You're selling your soul to a different devil.
Back in the old days, we used to get some good stuff for selling your soul to the devil. Now you get fuck all.
Do you know
so,
what? It's very funny how much you and my brother are very similar minded in this, because he turned around and basically said, "Oh, Chain, I don't get it, right? Flock of the Feather Walkers, belittle. Why have I got a midget in my
Yeah.
deck? And the captain's cool. What are all these neutral cards? I want my Shadow Blood Debt evil cards, and now I'm forced to put in all these generics. It's like it just doesn't
Flock.
feel
Flock
good.
was fun, but the rest, it when Flock went in, it was the little did we know that was the turning point where we were
I mean, that's just been
moving
people.
towards generic.
That was people just like looking at it thematically, but yeah, I get your point. But he's still good.
I think he's still hot. Not top tier, but he's hot. Moving on, Tales of Aria.
I like it. Simon has to go. Yeah, it's really good. I'm gonna controversial opinion. Moving on. Right. No arguments. Moving on.
Yeah,
Lexi.
Lexi is not hot.
No,
I feel like I'm saying not hot to a lot of heroes.
Yeah.
I don't want this to be a tier list. This is the thing. Like, you can be hot and not be the top
Yeah,
tier
I agree.
hero.
I
But
think,
at the same time, I'm not sure that Lexi is hot right
no,
now.
I think okay. Well, I think she's hot. I don't know. I don't think we've really seen what's available, but I have. There's something about her that I'm looking at, going, you know, that quite a few of these answers, but you probably suck to Prism, so I don't know.
You can't play against.
Hot.
You need a weapon for Prism. You have to have a weapon to just dink an
Or
aura.
just-
At the
or
very
just race
least, you can dink an aura if you've got a weapon. If you've not got an arrow or you had to block, you've got one card left in hand and you can't fire that arrow at an aura that you need to kill, because you've let Prism have auras on field and a full hand. Oh, it's just not going to end well. And for that reason,
I think
she's not
Lexi is hot, but she's struggling to get back what
Well-
she lost in Ball Lightning.
Maybe, yeah.
yeah, that ban was
Maybe, yeah. I think that.
was sad.
But she did get given some pretty tasty arrows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
agree.
well, I think there's
All
something there, but who knows? Right.
Oldham,
Not hot.
I think it's
Icy
hot.
Boy.
I think it's
'Cause
hot.
he's icy.
He's matchup. He's very hot on particular matchups. Never rule out the power of him being able to stop what people want to do. It's just boring though. So
I just don't.
I think with Prism so big in the meta, he's not.
yeah, he's probably died off because of the Prism. Yeah, he can't even beat. Nah, he's not hot. Actually, I take that back. He's not hot. He can't beat Viscerai and he can't beat Prism. So I'm not rating him. But he's still relevant because he puts the super hyper aggro decks in check. Which would have been Viscerai, but he just builds rune chants.
Yeah.
Okay, Briar.
Nah, trash.
Briar.
Oh,
So-
how the mighty have fallen.
She's still hot.
She's
Still
hot
like
to
Briar.
me.
What?
She's always hot to me.
What?
I actually think Briar is good. She's not
Yeah, she's fine.
tier 1. I got a top 8 with her at Northampton. That was a pretty tough field.
You're
I managed to
joking.
beat
I
two-
watched you just have an easy time. You're sitting
I
there.
managed to beat 2 Starvos, managed to beat Prism, 2 Prisms to get to the top 8. And then I lost to a Starvo. The matchup against Starvo is just very... You can win it. You can. It's tough. But
Need
and
to
the
close
Prism
the
matchup
game
is
out.
good. Viscerai. Oh my god, that Viscerai
hard.
just absolutely destroy you because you can't go long, and you can't race them.
I think
There's
there is a
nothing you can
discard
do.
Briar list that has legs, but it's tricky. And
It's
it's
tough.
variable.
It's
yeah.
tough. Yeah, and if you you come up against the wrong heroes in the Swiss, I think Briar will come back. Maybe if
After some
if-
Living
if-
Legend retirements.
If Starvo gets a little nerf, I think Briar might get the edge on Starvo. Viscerai will remain a tough matchup, but then there may be
Yeah.
more things countering Viscerai, so you never know.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, I'm going to say hot, but not.
I'm
top
going to say
tier.
hot because I love that.
Yeah.
Go on then. I was to say she's hot. The thing is, she's
Beaten into submission. One more hero.
No. Oh, Starvo. Yeah, of course. It's
Starvo.
Yeah. Well.
Starvo is not hot. You're not allowed to be.
Can we?
I don't.
Can we all
Starvo's
agree?
not-
his hair.
So
I mean, he's hot.
You can win, but you're not hot. In my
I'm gonna.
books.
Okay. So I'm gonna throw in one last sort of question on this
Starvo's
point. We all know what the answer is. He's hot. He's popular, right? Now, is he a mistake?
I said this
Is
to
this
a few
another dust
people.
blade issue?
Starvo is a hero they should have printed when the meta was stale. The meta was really exciting. We just got a bunch of new cool cards for tons of different heroes. And then they've printed Starvo, which has completely warped the meta. And now tons of people who wanted to play their hero and the new tools they've got have just found, I can't beat Starvo. And I'm more than happy for LSS to print heroes with really strong effects, but do it when the meta is stagnating a little bit or a little bit dry. I also don't like that Ball Lightning was probably banned because of Starvo. That's really annoying because that's killed the Lightning Lexis, and it's affected the
confirmed?
Briar decks.
Was
Well,
that
I
a
mean,
strong,
not
it's a
confirmed.
strong
Not confirmed.
hypothesis.
That's a speculation on my part, but you can make your own conclusions. But I feel like Starvo with Ball Lightning would be a pretty fun deck to play against.
But do you know what? Do you know what gets me? And this is a quote from a fellow player over the weekend, and I was making a point. I used to think I was the spikiest of spike players, and I wanted to win at all costs. And I've realised lately that I do need to enjoy the deck I'm playing. And I asked a Starvo player whether they enjoyed. In fact, I asked a number of Starvo players, but this particular Starvo player said, "I do not enjoy playing this deck. It is a means to an end because it is competitive. There is nothing fun about playing Starvo, waiting for an activation, hitting with a big card, and then a hammer. Like, it's point and shoot. There's nothing enjoyable about that to most people. They're just playing it because it's the aggro competitive deck."
Yeah. I don't think it was a mistake. I do think that I'm very worried about more random aspects to this game, because I like Flesh and Blood because there's not that much RNG involved, apart from obviously the cards you draw. You know, that's
You've never
part of the
played
game. Yeah, but like I came from playing a lot of Hearthstone, and that game just got sick of it because of how random and RNG based it was. And I don't like how random it is. No one wants to lose a game. Like, I traveled all the way up to Nottingham and then just got like Starvo activation, turn 2, turn 3.
You need a bit of RNG
whatever.
though, right?
And it's like, the RNG should be in the cards you draw, not on the effects.
But you played Chain, which is it's all about the banish, and I hope I banish are okay.
That's beside the point. That's Chain.
No, but do you know what I mean? Though there's got to be a point where
there's a cost involved.
Yeah, but the Starvo is that, isn't it? You know, the RNG is about is about the cards you draw. So did he draw the cards you need? Yeah. Okay. Cool. He's the same.
No,
thing.
I get what you're saying, Hamish, and he's
Hamish
not unbeatable.
is just a Starvo apologist over here because he ran Starvo when he should have run Viscera.
He's
not
trying
to justify.
That's the thing. He has a direct counter.
Yeah,
right?
He does direct counter. Exactly.
I feel like you're just
gonna
that's gonna get thrown at me. If I've got something, you'll go, "Yeah, you're only saying that because you played Starvo, you piece of shit." Oh, I'm sorry, I did it once.
Imagine repping a hero that was terrible for so long, and then when they get good, you drop them. Like,
is that a Matt Folks quote?
Is it?
Yeah, because he actually said that in a comment. He said,
"Everyone's saying it, Hamish."
I know.
Everyone.
Imagine
We're all talking about it.
I'm not even I'm worse than a loser. I'm an idiot.
But as to Simon's point he was about making, there is a direct counter to Starvo. Again, if you'd asked me this a week ago, I would have said Starvo is a huge problem. But the meta has fixed the problem, which is great.
So
so
here's my point with Starvo.
Just run the Aura Prism.
No, but here's my point. Not ProQuest related, Armory related. Starvo is Starvo a problem for a Armory related thing? So when someone's going to go, I'm going to play this new cool Starvo deck that I seen on YouTube or on the Facebook, and I want to put it together. Some poor sod is going to be playing a Azalea deck or Dash deck or whatever. And Mr. Jonny here is going to rock up with Starvo. And it's just another one of those sets that just goes, mate, this is like, Dorinthia felt crap, but you had to play well, right? Starvo is not even like, oh, did you play well? No. I just played what I drew.
It's a really interesting question, because the armories I've went to, the group have just not been running Starvo because no one wants to play it.
But this does
that's
happen.
That's London. That's in the south where Prism is.
Oh,
huge,
whatever, guy.
Right?
Yeah, you are right. You are right. We don't play.
But do you see what I mean? That was my point. Is he a problem for No,
he's fine.
Fine, he's fine. All right. What's just a question?
Because you'll have somebody run Starvo and someone will pick up Prism, and then the Prism player will beat the Starvo round one occasionally, and then do you
think we needed a bit more?
Should affect.
Do you think we need more than just one hero?
Well, we've got quite a few heroes in the game.
We've got two. No, I think there are two heroes right now.
So who's the second hero that absolutely crushes Starvo?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Two counters. No,
okay,
you only need
right.
one counter, and then you need one hero that counters Prism.
Well, you
one
end up
hero
with a
that counters
triangle,
that
right?
Prism.
You end up rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, but
Pentagon
that's not.
of.
Is that good? I don't know. Maybe that's a question for
What,
another time.
what are these philosophical questions?
No, but is it
But
also
at the
is
60th
just having
minute
a
of the
rock paper
podcast.
scissors situation a good
Hamish. I think maybe
This
Hamish,
is real end of the
you're-
night. 5 drinks in, philosophical.
Yeah, I know.
Is it right though?
No, but do we want to have something that goes? This
All I'm
beats
saying
this,
is
beats
that
this, this beats
Currently, we have a rock paper scissors. Previously, we've had Chain and Briar that were uncontested
Unbeatable.
winners, right? Yeah. So we do have a bit more variety now. It's
bit.
really hard to balance this kind of game, and at the moment we have a bit more of a balance than we've had in previous sets, and I think we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
To finish up, I just wanted to say one suggestion that someone gave for Starvo, which was to just make it you have to add a counter to your hero and then remove a counter to use the ability, and that would mean that you couldn't use it turn 1 and you couldn't use it 2 turns in a row. And I thought that was a very neat solution to Starvo, to just make it a little bit. You could still do it every other turn, but you couldn't always do it. And I thought, yeah, maybe that works.
I like that.
So yeah, if you have any suggestions for how you would change Starvo, or maybe
comment on the video.
if you think that actually Starvo is fine, I'd actually really want to hear that too. If you just think the hero is fine, comment on the video and let us know, and maybe we'll talk about it in the next one. And maybe by the end of 4 more ProQuests, we'll have a completely different method to what we have now.
I hope
Right,
so.
just to round up ProQuest chat, I would like to say a big congratulations to Jack Raven, who won in Southampton.
Well done.
Well done, Jack.
Rob Catton, who won at Kingdom Gaming.
Well done,
To
Rob.
Tom Hall, who won at Underworld Games.
Fantastic.
To Matt Folks, who won in Lowestoft.
Yeah.
Well done, Matt.
To Kashi, who won at the Bearded Car Trader event in Durham. Unfortunately, I don't know the name of the person that won in Lisburn Geek Retreat. Jonny Chapman won at EH Gaming.
Well done.
Liam Canning won at Boards and Swords.
Fantastic. Well done.
Jamie Faulkner won at Dark Sphere.
Nice one, Jamie.
And Joe Wetter won at Dice Saloon. And I would say an honourable mention to Jake Arms, who knows he cannot make the Pro Tour and therefore split the prizes with Joe and gave up that PTI.
Oh,
With
well done,
Jamie,
Jamie.
right? Not Joe. Jamie.
What?
Prices with Jamie?
Oh, sorry, it's Jamie Faulkner in Darksphere. You're right.
Yeah.
well done, everyone. You should be, give yourselves a pat on the back. You don't need me to tell you
Absolutely.
that, but well, honestly, amazing results. I love the fact there's so many names, new names. Just more people coming through the fold.
It's a very competitive game these days. It's not like it used to be.
No, we're getting old.
You know what I would
Back
say
in my day.
is that actually, and I've said this to a couple of people, the step up in ability and level of games has been incredible, and it's been amazing to see. I've really enjoyed this ProQuest season so far, and I'm really looking forward to my last event at Living Realms, I hope.
Yeah, and to everyone who made a top 8, I just think well done. It is actually quite tough to get to a top 8 these days. Like we're saying,
It's
the
not to be taken
competitiveness of the game is huge. There's a lot of new players who have competitive backgrounds in other card games. So actually just making the top 8 of a tournament of 20, 30, 40, 50 people is huge.
Well, you're making me feel a little bit better, Tripp, because he's like, well, we made it to the top 8, but
Yeah, me and Simon got top 8.
this scrub here didn't. It's really difficult. You had to be playing really
But
well
I
to get
thought
to the
you
top 8.
you played Viscerai and you won. Oh no, that was a different
fuck
life,
off,
wasn't
mate.
it? Butterfly's wings, mate. What could have been?
You know
Anyway,
what? I've actually come to the realization that a pair of you siphon my hype to get to the top 8, because neither
Absolutely.
of
You are a
neither
great
of
hype
you
man on
can get to a
Sunday,
top
thank
8
you.
without me being at that event.
I told you, Hamish, if you got to top 8 at Kingdom, I would have been gone.
Yeah, I was there, and you went, Hamish, I need your hype. Thank you for the top 8. Simon, Hamish, I need your hype.
Oh, great hype, man.
Thank you for the top 8. And I'm like,
Withered away.
Yeah, withered.
All right, we need to wrap this up. Thanks very much, everyone. Check out YouTube, like and subscribe. Check out Patreon. Come and see us if you want some dice. Probably Hamish is better. better
Don't
than
see me.
No,
I don't
my dice giveaway days are over now. I think we're going to be. You can buy them.
Three for a $5. And I love
£2
you all.
each.
Thanks very much. See you later.
Later,
Bye.
guys. See you later. Bye.
Bye.